You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about, I've got three things. Kelsey Mitchell's involved in two of them because got to be more careful. Woo-wee. Dribble. Shit. Yikes. Forget shoot. Woo-wee. This Indiana Fever post trying to get people to vote.
What happens when the biggest star in the world realizes she's being lied to by her own coach? Most people think the Indiana Fever are just having some growing pains. But if you look closer at what's happening behind the scenes, you'll see a team that is actively cannibalizing its own success. There is a charade going on in Indiana right now, and it's time we call it out for exactly what it is. The fans are paying record-breaking prices to see a generational talent, but the organization seems more interested in load management and protecting veteran egos than actually winning basketball games. The tension is reaching a boiling point, and the latest injury reports suggest that the truth is the last thing this team wants you to know. It all starts with the disingenuous way they're handling the status of Caitlin Clark. For weeks, we've seen this probable tag attached to her name, a vague label that feels less like medical science and more like undercover work. They want to keep the fans guessing, but more importantly, they want an excuse to pull the plug on her minutes whenever they feel like it. It's a load management scheme wrapped in a jersey, and frankly, I don't give a damn if they like it or not. Lying to the people who pay your salary by misrepresenting the health of your franchise player is a dangerous game. But Clark isn't the only one caught in this web of strange medical updates. Enter Sophie Cunningham. Not long ago, the word was that her right elbow was a serious concern. Elbow injuries in this league tend to linger. They mess with your shot, your range, and your confidence. But then, almost as if by some miracle or a touch of voodoo, Sophie is seen bored.
Tasha Howard, who's playing at damn near an MVP level now that she's away from Stephanie White and with a real coach. I voted for Olivia Miles, who's an absolute dog, a killer out there. No agendas here. I voted for Caitlin Clark, and that was the only Indiana Fever player I voted for. Aaliyah Boston did not get my vote, by the way. Sorry, not sorry. No apologies here. Not going to get them. So, Kelsey Mitchell, our spark.
A plane with no wrap, no gauze, and no signs of pain whatsoever. She was hands in the air, smiling, looking like she hadn't felt a lick of discomfort in years. It makes you wonder if Joel Osteen stopped by the locker room to perform a miracle, or if the injury was never as bad as they claimed. It's hard to trust the narrative when the visual evidence screams something completely different. But if the medical reports are messy, the all-star voting situation is a total disaster. Usually, a fanbase rallies behind their entire team, but in Indiana, the house is divided. People are actually getting angry when they see who the real experts are voting for. While the organization is begging you to vote Kels every single day, a huge portion of the fans are saying, no thanks. It's reached a point where people would rather vote for Kennedy Carter, the very person who sparked a national firestorm over her treatment of Clark, than vote for Kelsey Mitchell. Why? Because fans are tired of the agendas. They are tired of seeing blackballing and favoritism play out on the court, while the most efficient players are left sitting on the sidelines. When you look at the numbers, the all-star case for Mitchell starts to crumble. You have players out there scoring 16 points in just 18 minutes, shooting over 62% from the field. That's elite efficiency. Then you look at Kelsey Mitchell, who is shooting a measly 45% despite taking a mountain of shots and playing heavy minutes. It's not just about the points, it's about how those points are earned. There is a growing sentiment that Mitchell has become the place where the ball goes to die. You can practically hear the collective groan from the crowd every time she starts that dribble routine. It's become a running joke among the fans. You can literally get up, go to the fridge, grab a beer, and settle back into your couch, and by the time you sit down, Kelsey is still at the top of the key, pounding the rock into the hardwood. She'll burn 23 seconds off a 24-second clock and then chuck up a prayer that rarely gets answered. It's a style of play that Stephanie White and Lynn Dunn seem to endorse, but it's killing the flow of the offense. It's the antithesis of the gravity basketball that Caitlin Clark played in college, and it's creating a massive rift in the locker room that no one wants to talk about publicly. The most damning evidence of this fractured relationship happened just a few nights ago, and it involves a play that should have been a simple game winner. Imagine you're the best player on the team. You've been told the play is for you. You check back into the game, expecting to be the hero, only to realize your coach lied to your face. In a 98-94 game, Clark came back in expecting a specific screen and roll. Instead, Stephanie White tried to get cute and draw up a play to get Kelsey Mitchell more points. The result? A dropped pass, a blown possession, and a look on Caitlin Clark's face that said more than 1,000 words ever could. If you watch the replay and zero in on Clark's reaction, you don't see a player who is learning the ropes. You see a player who has lost all faith in her leadership. Her hands were up in the air, her face was a mask of pure frustration, and she looked absolutely venomous. This isn't a growing pain or a lack of chemistry. This is a fundamental breakdown of trust. When a coach tells a superstar one thing and does another just to appease a veteran, that's how you lose a locker room. They can say all the right things in the post-game press conferences and pretend that everything is great, but we've seen this movie before. We've seen it in the NBA with guys like Kyrie Irving and Kawhi Leonard. It starts with small disagreements, then it moves to misunderstandings about injuries, and before you know it, the player is demanding a way out of town. The relationship between Clark and White looks fractured beyond repair at this point. Every single game, there are moments where you can see the friction. It's in the way they talk, or don't talk, during timeouts. It's in the body language on the sidelines. It's a ticking time bomb, and the Indiana Fever front office seems content to just let it sizzle. The fans aren't stupid. They see the spark that the team keeps tweeting about, and they aren't buying it. They see the veteran favoritism, and they are responding by voting for players on other teams who actually play winning basketball. It's a sad state of affairs when a franchise with this much potential is being held back by internal politics and a dribble-first mentality. If something doesn't change, and change fast, we might be looking at the
in on Caitlin Clark and Steph White here after this play got blown. But this was, they're about to make it a 98-94 game. Caitlin Clark comes back in. You're thinking to yourself, you're obviously going to go to Caitlin Clark, right? Because for the second game in a row, there's no way you're not going to the best player on your team, right?
We're going to walk out of this
shortest superstar tenure in the history of the league. Because at the end of the day, a player like Clark didn't come here to watch the clock run out while someone else pounds the ball into the dirt. So, where do we go from here? Does Stephanie White realize she's playing with fire? Or is she too committed to her favorites to see the bridge burning behind her? The Indiana Fever are at a crossroads. They can either embrace the future and build around the most transformative talent they've ever had, or they can continue this charade of load management and veteran appeasement. But one thing is for sure, the eyes of the world are on them, and the truth always has a way of coming out, no matter how many injury reports they try to hide behind. It's a no-holds-barred situation now, and the clock is ticking on more than just the 24-second violations. As we move forward into the heart of the season, the question isn't just about whether they make the playoffs. It's about whether this team can even stay together. When you have a locker room where the fans, the coaches, and the players are all pulling in different directions, something has to give. Will we see a blockbuster trade? Will we see a coaching change? Or will we just continue to watch the dribble show until the fans finally stop showing up? The drama in Indiana is just getting started, and if you think it's been wild so far, you haven't seen anything yet. The reality is that the miracle, recoveries, and the probable statuses are just smoke and mirrors. Behind the curtain, there is a struggle for the soul of this team. On one side, you have the old-school mentality that says rookies need to wait their turn, and veterans deserve the shots. On the other side, you have the reality of the modern game, which says you play through your best playmaker, no matter how long they've been in the league. Right now, the old guard is winning the battle, but they are losing the war for the fans' hearts. And in this business, once you lose the fans, you've lost everything. So keep an eye on those sidelines. Watch the way Clark looks at the bench after a blown play. Watch the way the veterans interact when the cameras aren't front and center. The truth isn't in the box score, and it certainly isn't in the official team statements. The truth is in the venom we see every night on the court. It's a story of talent versus ego, and right now, ego is winning by a landslide. But for how much longer? That's the question everyone should be asking. Because the main event hasn't even truly started, and already, the house is shaking. It's a bizarre situation to witness, especially when you consider the stakes. We are talking about a player who has the power to change the financial trajectory of an entire league. You would think the red carpet would be rolled out, and every play would be designed to maximize her strengths. Instead, we see load management, lies, and a coaching staff that seems almost embarrassed by her success. It's a level of dysfunction that defies logic, yet here we are, watching it play out in real time. What happened to the transparency? What happened to the team first mentality? It's been replaced by agendas and undercover tactics. And as much as the organization wants to sweep it under the rug, the fans are the ones holding the broom. They are calling out the inefficiency, they are calling out the coaching, and they are calling out the miraculous elbow recoveries. You can only fool people for so long before they start voting for the villain on the other team just to send a message. And that message is being sent loud and clear: fix the culture, or lose the star. In the end, basketball is a game of rhythm and trust. Right now, the Indiana Fever have made their. They have a collection of talented individuals, but they don't have a team. They have a superstar, but they don't have a leader who knows how to use her. And until those things change, we're going to keep seeing these dribble disasters and these venomous sideline exchanges. The clock is ticking, and the fans are waiting. Will the Fever finally tell the truth, or will they keep this charade going until there's nothing left to save? Only time will tell, but if history is any indication, the fallout is going to be unlike anything we've ever seen in the world of sports. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. Every game brings a new chapter, a new controversy, and a new reason to question what's really going on behind closed doors. The road to the All-Star game is paved with broken promises and probable lies, and we're going to be here to break it all down, piece by piece.
23 seconds of the 24-second clock, and then misses. Love the Fever, but no. That's funny. That's funny. Cece's the GOAT. KM doesn't know how to pass the ball. Dribble. As we say on this channel, it's where the ball goes to die. Stephanie White and Lynn Dunn endorsed this message.
Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the everything is fine narratives, and most importantly, don't take your eyes off the sideline. That's where the real game is being played. Till next time, keep your eyes open and your questions ready. Peace. But the dysfunction doesn't stop at the locker room door. It's bleeding into the very fabric of how the league treats its newest gold mine. There's an invisible wall being built around Caitlin Clark, and it's not just by opposing defenders. It's coming from an old guard mentality that seems more interested in forcing a rookie tax than embracing the future. We've seen veteran players on other teams take cheap shots, but when those off-court whispers start coming from your own coaching staff, that's when you know the rot is deep. There's a rumor circulating that certain veterans feel disrespected by the sheer amount of attention Clark receives, and instead of rising to the occasion, they're retreating into a style of play that intentionally excludes her. It's a silent protest on the hardwood. When you see Clark wide open at the logo, waving her hands for the rock, and the veteran guard decides to put their head down and drive into a triple team instead, that's not a basketball mistake. That's a message. It's a humbling tactic that is backfiring in the most public way possible, and it's making the Indiana front office look like they've lost control of the ship. And what happens next could shock the entire industry. Because this isn't just about a few lost games, it's a $1 million gamble that the Fever are currently losing. Every time they load manage Clark under the guise of a probable injury, or every time they let a game slip away because they refuse to run a play for their best shooter, they are devaluing their own brand. The fans aren't just buying tickets, they're buying into the CC era. If the organization continues to prioritize veteran egos over Clark's development, they risk more than just a losing season. They risk a Kyrie-style exit that would leave the franchise in ruins. There's already talk in the deeper sports circles about exit strategies, and what it would look like if a generational talent decided she'd had enough of the venomous looks and the broken promises. Imagine the chaos if the face of the league decided to force her way out because her own team tried to cute her out of a starting role. The house is shaking, the foundation is cracked, and while the team acts like everything is fine, the reality is that they are one bad sideline argument away from a total collapse. The question isn't whether the truth will come out, it's whether there will be anything left of the Indiana Fever once it finally does.